Pranita, I think we should start the meeting.
Yes, okay. So, hello, welcome, and a very good evening to one and all present here. My name is Pranita Panchmukh, and I am the Joint General Secretary of ACES. As we all know that yesterday, that is 8th of March, is celebrated as International Women's Day. It's a kind of global day celebrating the social, economic, cultural, political, and every other field achievements of women. Today, we all are here to have a wonderful session in collaboration with ITSA PVG COET and DSC PVG COT on navigating the world as a modern woman. Whether it's working at home or working at office, handling so many responsibilities, but still got no boundaries. A woman is indeed incredible and unstoppable. So let's hear it more from our speakers how a modern woman is navigating the world. We have Aditi Zanpure, who is a consultant at Deloitte and a part time teacher, and Disha Patil, who is a senior data analyst at Venum and a visiting faculty. Also, guys, it's an interactive session, so feel free to ask any questions and discuss it. And now I request the speakers to take over the session.
Thank you, Pranita, for the lovely introduction. And thank you, all of us, for giving us this opportunity to be here and interact with you. And like Pranita said, this is an interactive session, and we are hoping that you would actively participate so we can have a chat on topics that you find interesting, on topics that we find interesting. And I will just give it over to Disha now.
Yes, thank you so much, Aditi. And let me like share my screen right now because we have made a cool PPT to aid our chatting discussion session here. And while we are having this discussion, I request because we are a lot of us over here, like 63 people have joined right now. So I would request you to like post your comments in the chat section as the discussion is going on, and I'll be looking at the comments live, and me and Aditi would incorporate all your comments into our discussion. And if you want to like quickly share your thoughts, you can even raise your hand so I can give you access to speak during the session. Okay, so with that, let's wish everyone a very happy Women's Day, a belated one, nevertheless. Yes, and like I always like to start with some kind of small light-hearted cartoon when I start any kind of group discussion or something. So here's one that I think you would appreciate because you all are currently at college. Some of you boys and some of you girls come here to get more knowledge. And I hope you all would one day, land on Jupiter. Like Mars is a stale planet now. I guess Elon Musk is just monopolizing it. I don't care. Okay. Yeah.
No personal agenda. No personal agenda.
Oh, okay, fine. I'll
Mars, be it Jupiter, we're just going to go there.
yeah.
No matter the gender, we are going to go to college, get some knowledge that rhymes, and we're all going to go to Jupiter with no personal agendas and no personal vendettas.
Yeah. And no gatekeeping. It's all inclusive and everyone together marching onward and forward, right? Yeah. So with that, so we had a very lovely introduction from the ACES secretary about women rocking the world and doing so many, leading so many things at once. But like we all know the things that we also struggle, like some of the girls in the audience would like relate with, is certain specific and often hard to miss stereotypes, right, Aditi?
Yeah. I mean, what is this about blue and pink anyway? So the point we're trying to drive here is it doesn't matter, right? Who cares? Like I like blue, I like pink, who cares? And everything said and done that the modern woman is unstoppable. She multitasks, she manages a ton of things at the same time. But the very infrastructure, the very social infrastructure in which we have to live is marred with stereotypes. And all the girls here will be able to relate firsthand, and all the boys, I'm sure, will be able to relate to this as secondary observers or someone who has observed their friends or their close female friends or sisters, anybody going through all this. So it's just the kind of attitude that we have to imbibe in ourselves, and Disha and I have come a long way in doing this. It's easier said and done. It's not at all easy to just say who cares, right? We do care. We do care, and we do get sucked in those stereotypes, trying to fit in and trying to prove to something or someone that we are worth it. Take us seriously. Just because like women are generally expected to be submissive and sweet and silent and quiet, but no, who cares? If I'm not like that, you just need to accept me for who I am, and if I am like that, you need to give me a chance to speak. So that's the kind of the point that we are trying to drive here, right, Disha?
Yeah, correctly. I mean, and like, oh my God, they are so, sometimes these stereotypes are like so subtle. I mean, you're just like, mind blocked. Oh my God, where did this come from? Like, oh, like really, just me having long hair is going to impact my physics learning? Oh boy, like,
Professor said that to you, right? So
yeah.
listen, people, a professor actually said this to her. Why don't you tell them, Disha?
Oh, okay. So long story short, it was my physics class, and I was stuck at some problem and the entire class was stuck at some problem, by the way, not just me. I just happened to raise my hand and ask the doubt, and it was like, so this long hair is actually burdening your head, and that's why you really can't focus on the complexities of a physics problem. And I'm like, what? And like, I was very young at that time, as you are, like, in 11th or 12th standard, just out of school, a very protective environment, and you're like, oh, something is wrong with me, like, being a girl, I might not be able to walk this part of physics and mathematics henceforth. And that like did cost me a lot of time, confidence, and just a hard way to get back from there, and just believe in yourself and just do whatever you like. I mean, just sideline the stereotypes and sideline the gender divides in a way. And it continues in today's age also, when I'm 27 and my colleague still comments on my career choices as, oh, but you are the girl who really liked hardcore math, and then why are you going into this soft skills like data visualization? And I'm like, I'm not going to again explain after like 10-15 years the same cycle.
They're gendering career choices.
Yeah, like seriously,
You've already gendered people, you're gendering career choices as well. Like, when did data visualization? Like, it makes no sense.
Exactly.
Also, Disha, I just suddenly felt really old when you said we were young as you are, and I took like a moment to get out of that existential crisis.
Oh, no, I think I just meant that we have grown actually. We have actually grown from that 10-15 years ago college you and me. Yeah, and I think now we do know many women who are like, much wiser, and from whom we have learned, and really trying to rock this girl boss thing, don't you think?
Yeah. So who cares, right? That was the first point that we wanted to kind of drive here, that who cares. You make your own choices, and it's incredibly hard, especially when people around you keep putting you down. But the attitude of who cares, I'll do what I want, I know my strengths, and I'm going to play by my strengths, is very important to imbibe in ourselves, and we are still trying to do it. Like, it's not I'm suddenly feeling like, I'm one of these people, like the older person, but we're still trying to do it. We're still trying to fight,
Yeah.
trying to figure out. But and especially in my case, it so happened that it's been a journey for me as well, because I graduated. My first major during my graduation was mechanical engineering, which is supposed to be an all male field. From there, I went to majoring in human resources, which is considered as an all-female field. And now I'm a consultant, so none of it matters really, and that's more a topic for the Indian education system than anything else. But let's not go there. So it's been a journey from an all-male field to an all-female field, and I was too girly for the boys, and I was too boyish for the girls, and it was a task. It was a task. It was a constant struggle between trying to fit in and trying to break the stereotype at the same time. But now it's like just it happened over time. It happened over time. It's not like acha, suddenly one day someone told me don't care about what the world says, and I suddenly stopped caring. It was a process. It happened over time, and it happens with it. I've seen that happen with so many women I know, and now they are leading projects. They are running their own businesses. They are developing themselves, growing in their lives. So I think a common thread which I've observed in all these women who are major girl bosses now is the who cares attitude. Like, who cares? I will play by my strength. I do not need anybody else's opinions. I mean, I do need your opinion, but I will only imbibe them if I wanted to. That was my
Yeah. Correct. I mean, yeah. So it does take a learning curve, doesn't it, Aditi? I mean,
Yeah.
to get there, like to really to really unlearn and let the feeling sink in that I really am an independent person, and I really need to see myself as an independent person and practice that independence in reality, not just like just not just like knowing ki yes I can do it on my own if I wanted to, but actually getting there and doing it. There are many unseen things that are like stopping us. We really need to get to this thinking, no, मैं मेरी अमानत हूँ. Okay.
First of all, we
Everything
get the Bollywood songs, as beautiful as they might be. कभी कभी मेरे दिल में ख्याल आता है, तुम मेरी अमानत है. That's like I don't मैं अपनी अमानत हूँ. My own decision. I am my own person. Unlearn those Bollywood songs. I mean, they are beautiful, yes, on paper. They make your heart flutter and all, but it's not. मैं मेरी अमानत हूँ. Do not call me your amanat. That's guys, Monica, it's so 1930s. Like,
Exactly. And the small things that we overlook, na, like with respect to language, like कि तू मेरी अमानत है, and we just overlook it. Oh, but he didn't really mean it that way. Like that wasn't the context really and stuff. I really believe we just like start nitpicking on the language now. We are like more closer to solving this gender problem than ever before. I mean, we'll have to restructure a lot of language, Aditi, but that would be a good exercise if we are going to get something good out of it. I would like just want to like tell if people are interested into how like gendered the language is, to read something by Kamla Bhasin. She has like given excellent write-ups, articles, interviews over this. It's like really mind-blowing and eye-opening about how gendered the everyday uses language is. So where are we? We were at like, yeah, how do
I become apni amanat? How do
I do it? Really, how do I do it? I would say the learning experience is different for everyone. Like it was different for you and me, but just consciously being there for each other. Just making your women networks, helping each other up, right? Talking about these things that you think, oh, maybe this is not something that is my area of expertise, and how do I break into this group of people who really sound very confident and expert on this topic, and which is like very essential topic for every individual to be, but I'm like, I will sound just so dumb. If you're feeling such things,
Yeah, so if you think, so there's no such thing as it's not my cup of tea.
Ah,
If it's not your cup of tea, make yourself a cup of coffee. Like take ownership of your choices,
yeah.
right? I mean, I think it starts with taking ownership of one's own finances, for example.
Correct.
Taking accountability and ownership of one's decisions and career choices. It's not easy. It's
It's
not
not
easy for
easy.
the families we have in India, but you can start somewhere. Like I said, not my cup of tea, fine, I'll make myself a cup of coffee. I'll just have a milkshake instead. But for
Exactly.
making that cup of coffee and making that milkshake, there goes a lot of work behind it. There goes a lot of thinking behind it.
Hmm.
That like, okay, will I be able to make the coffee?
Hmm.
Will I like the coffee?
Hmm.
That is the ownership that we will have to take. That
Yep.
yes, I am taking this path, but also going to take ownership of this. So
Right.
building yourself like to a position where you can bear the consequences of your
Hmm.
decisions, and
Hmm.
I think that starts with financial independence.
Totally, totally. Such an important thing. And I find like so many young women, like my juniors, usually struggling with this thing that they are completely oblivious about this one essential life skill. I mean, we all are. I'm not saying that anybody, irrespective of their gender, is so well educated about their finances, but I generally find that there is a network of, men, or we'll say men's group, where the knowledge, like, percolates down the line. The junior joining into the company or something will always have this advices from the more senior persons about how do you do it wisely. And I think mostly women do shy away from this, or is being regarded as a not non-essential kind of topic. And I have really had my juniors come to me and stuff like, I think I have not really paid attention to this, but I want to pay attention to this now. And I really like feel so glad that they come up with these questions, and I am able to somewhere throw light on this topic and help them get started. So it really is about helping each other and empowering each other. And many a times what happens is women do feel very safe and comfortable when they are talking to all women's group, or when they are in such kind of all women spaces. For example, take a very this is my own experience. Like, there are many tech meetups that happen in Pune, but most of the tech meetups that I have attended has such a skewed gender ratio. I always see the men, mostly the men, filled up in the room, and so few, like one or two girls. And if some college student is there, they are so shy, because, like, there's a mix of college student and company professionals who attend this meetup groups. And if you are a new college student and you find yourself in a room full of only men, obviously you're shy to just discuss or ask some doubts or just share some ideas or things. So it's very essential that you also come up with this all women spaces which are enabling these women just to be
So
there and just to be themselves.
just to be clear, an all women's network does not exclude men
Oh
or
no,
any
it does
other.
not.
It's
It does
not an
not.
exclusionary concept. It
No.
is a concept where you actively enable the women around you to
Yep.
make progress, to
Yep. Yep.
give them a push ahead. So all these things that we were talking about, it is not excluding men or excluding any other gender. It is just pushing the women in your life,
Exactly.
pushing the marginalized people in your life to do better, to
Exactly.
help enable the networks, help enable the infrastructure for them to come to a level where they can be confident about themselves. And
Exactly.
the problems which are faced, they are so systemic in nature that very hard to change, right? Very hard to change. But what we can do from our end is that create an ecosystem where we can push them. It's a simple act. I mean, it's not very difficult. You see an opportunity and you just
Yep.
let your friend know that, hey, this is an opportunity, are you interested? It just takes one message. And
Yep.
trust me on this, when you do that, when you take the first step, you are going
Mhm.
to much more than what you gave, because the person is really going to appreciate that you reached out to them first. And this is the principle of networking everywhere. So when I was new to Deloitte, this networking was such a buzzword that was hammered onto our heads, and I was very confused. I was scared. I like, how do you just walk up to people and say, hi, I have nothing to say, I'm a junior here. What is this networking? Like, I know what networking is, but you can't just walk up to a senior manager and say, hi, how are you? And I want to work on this project. They're not going to pay attention to you. But if you approach people with something of interest, and if they find it important enough to pay attention to, find out what their interests are, approach them, and if they find value in what you're saying, trust me, they're going to keep in mind and get back to you. And that is how network is created, and that is how what we're trying to saying is that is how women should start doing it, because we are not taught to be assertive, we are not taught to be proactive, we are taught to be submissive and quiet.
Really passive, really, just be there and things will come your way. I mean, no, nothing is going to come your way. Nothing is going to come your way.
Nothing is going to come your way. This is true for everyone, be it men or women. And women more than ever, because if you're quiet, you'll be taken for granted, which has happened with me, which has happened with you also, Disha, so many times. So it's just, you have to take ownership and speak up and be proactive, grab opportunities, go get stuff. If you are shy, if you are an introverted person, it does not make a difference, by the way. It's not really necessary for you to be an extroverted person to go and talk to someone. If you find a way for the person to see your work, that's good enough.
And a lot of this, Aditi, it's very unseen kind of conditioning that has got into us, right? It's very hard to see this conditioning and then act upon it and then unlearn. Nothing that we are talking about right now is like, oh, I have this many faults, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, it's not really that. It does take time. It takes time to look at yourself. It takes time to look at how the systematic conditioning has affected us all, not just girls or not just boys, every one of us. And then, looking at ourselves from a third person point of view, unlearning it and then building upon it, and then having a healthy life and a healthy companionship, a healthy network, be it boys or girls, is very essential, and there's some effort on our part, I guess, given the situation.
And I think the most important aspect, that what it takes is to just be yourself and do justice to yourself. That's what. So this is the crux of it. Do justice to yourself. If at any point you feel you're not doing justice to yourself, then I think that is the moment one should be introspecting. Ki, Acha, I'm getting a feeling that I'm not doing justice to myself. I don't feel good. So that's when you take action. So all this, like, the crux of everything is speak up, participate, make your presence felt, be proactive. Because as we transitioned from college to the corporates, it was a very confusing time. It was not easy. It was very confusing. It was intimidating. You suddenly get thrown out into the real world where you are responsible for yourself. Nobody's there to take care of you. Even in college, you have your friend circles to count on, right? When you go into your office spaces, there are new people you have to interact with, and they're not your friends. They're not your friends. Everybody is there to make their own career. Nobody's your friend. It's just you. You are your own savior. So what our learnings from this experience were, yes, we did make fun of ourselves, but the crux of the matter is speak up and do justice to yourself. Being proactive in one way or the other is the only way to do justice to yourself in this world right now. Ideally, I can say, but right now, talking realistically and very practically, that's the way to go. Participation and making your presence felt.
Yeah, true. So
That we have a question.
that was from our side, right? And yeah, we have got question. Okay, then I'll stop.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So, Acha, okay. So you can see our photo like this here. Because I don't want to leave anything unexplained. We have been friends for, like, I don't know, forever.
Yeah.
And a huge part of why we support each other the way we do lies in the fact that we kind of stumbled together, grew together, we faced challenges together, and that's how we know how female friendships matter. how pushing each other is so important. And that's us compared with two potatoes,
Which are also as sweet as us.
yeah, that's a normal potato though. Anyway, we have a question here. How
Okay.
does one make an actual difference in one's friend circle as far as encouraging participation is concerned? One short example, please. Okay.
Okay.
Right. I do have something to say here. I majored in mechanical engineering in my graduation. Um, and so you must be aware of the Baha and Supra competitions which the colleges enter into. They do some really cool stuff. Um, and I was trying to apply for those. Uh, and a few of my well-wisher friends, male friends, they came and told me not to apply because the panel actively discourages girls who come in for an interview. They will purposely ask you really hard questions, make you feel bad about yourself, and most girls just leave the room crying. This is what you should not do. I mean, the putting the girl on the spot thing. This is what you should not do. Uh, as in your friends circle, how to increase participation is create an ecosystem where it's comfortable for the women to speak up and express themselves without branding them, labeling them for being girly. Because it has been my experience that when I open my mouth and speak, I was made fun of so many times that, oh, this, acha, ladki hai to aise hi bolegi. These are small things, right? It makes you kind of it made me feel bad about myself, and then I just stopped talking. And you kind of get intimidated. Acha, that's a group of people who really seem to know what they're doing. They're so cool. They're seen everywhere. College maybe like all the activities. It's just the same group of people. I see them everywhere. They're so amazing. They're so confident. Maybe I don't have it in me. Maybe if I go there, they'll make fun of me. Right. So it goes both ways. It goes both ways. Even if the already established people are making an effort to create an infrastructure for you, sometimes you also have to break out of your comfort zone and participate, not caring about what they say. Because ideally, yes, nobody should be making fun of you. But I guess that's just how it is. That's what I did. That's what I did because I think I was vocal about it. I just told them to shut up and go about it. But I understand that it's not easy for everyone to do it. It affects you when people just make fun of you. It can get intimidating, but like it's the only thing that just break all the barriers, just get out of your comfort zone and just break the barriers, just get in. Just get in. So it goes both ways.
So next question, Aditi, is as we talked about women supporting women, and somebody would so like Sunanda wants to know which woman inspires you the most.
Oh, so many women inspire me.
Exactly, so many. So many. It's like so like okay, so both of us have landed up on Twitter, and we both find it as like most favorite of our social media platforms. And oh my God, have we found like women's network unlike anywhere else on Twitter? That like women are doing stuff which is like so cool, so inspiring. Their stories, their encouragement that they share on Twitter, everything is like just mind blowing. And the way they have built their women network, the way they are encouraging each other, so much to learn over there. Just to give an example on top of my head, because I was reading a Twitter thread before I joined this call, is about Dr. Timnit Gebru. I suppose I'm pronouncing her name correctly. She was a lead researcher at Google's AI ethics team and has done phenomenal work into eradicating this
There's
algorithm
two of them.
bias. There's two of them. There's Dr. Michelle as well.
Yeah.
I'm forgetting her surname. But yeah, so the entire fiasco that Google has done is another story. But these two women like spearheaded this Google AI ethics research team, which basically was forcing a big corporation like Google to actually look at the algorithmic bias, look at the inbuilt bias into all the AI systems that we are now part of. It's like everywhere, from our cell phones to our everyday life, everywhere. and these people were forcing Google to look at its own algorithm system and make it more fair and just. What happened or what is unfolding is another story. You can read about that. But just to be able to do that, to stand up to that, move an entire corporation in a just direction, such a big feat. I really,
It just gives a message that yes, you can do it.
yeah, yes, you can do it.
You can do it. If you put your mind to it, you can do it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, these are all barriers created by our mind that about yourself, right? About your limitations. The actual barriers are there. They're there. Yes,
Mm.
but what we can do is just break free of the barriers created by our own minds.
Our own minds, exactly. And I just wanted to add this to this previous question, like what can one do to encourage participation is, it really is about looking at examples, like I have got my confidence by looking at this women leading at various positions, looking at this women taking up the stage and talking. That has really made a difference to me, and that was like my initial idea when I started this our ladies meetup group in Pune. I was thinking about, okay, all these tech meetup spaces that don't really even have the women speaker in such big an amount. So why can't I just have this our ladies group where we predominantly structurally force ourselves that we'll keep a maximum like 80% of the speakers would be female speakers, so we have that representation. See, representation makes the whole lot of difference. Nobody comes into a junior level in college or company and just looks at the state of affair and gets inspired. It's because this junior, like the example you give, junior Baha participants have this example that all their mechanical seniors are doing this Baha thing for 4 years. And when you go, you see that, oh, no girl from mechanical department is actually actively participating here. That's the first barrier, that I have to step up this one huge step and then start my journey. Instead, if you have that representation, it just makes it easy. Oh, this path is taken and I can also walk it comfortably.
I also like
Uh,
that. I also really like that this question was asked in the first place.
Yeah.
It does take a lot of reading, a lot of understanding and empathy to come up with a question such as this. And what can I do to encourage participation? So I really appreciate the empathy here. And if everybody started thinking like this, we would really make some leaps of progress.
Yeah.
There was one recent survey that said that India ranks first in when it comes to the number of women in corporate leaderships. So while I'm working in a corporate, I can see that Deloitte has a lot of women in their leadership, and they're all very capable. But when I talk to people outside of Deloitte, and like many of these people were women, and they said that many times it just happens that this is a corporate policy, and they make decisions to kind of dole out the stats.
Yeah.
20% women,
The
25%.
tokenism.
So my opinion, my take on this would be, instead of doing that, let's create meaningful changes. Like, let's clear the path for women, clear the path that they need to take to reach leadership. Let's clear that path. And this question, which was posed here, it speaks of that. And it's really heartening to see that people are actively trying to think, what can I do to make things better? And like Disha said, it's representation, creating an ecosystem, and just actively reducing the barriers to participation by women.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello, Disha.
Huh.
I think you should tell us more about your Our Ladies group. Who knows?
Oh.
Anybody might be interested here. So we are all technical people, right?
Oh, great. I would love to. So me and Saranjit, my other friend who is also co-founder of Our Ladies Pune. We started this in December 2019. We had like 3-4 meetups before the lockdown hit, and then since then we have been able to restart it again. But we are thinking about restarting it again online. So the as I told you, the meetup ideas came out of this thing that the tech meetup space in Pune really lacks female representation. I mean, I was worried, why aren't more girls coming to these meetups? They are fun, they're super fun. Not always, okay, you don't have to take every speaker seriously, but at least you can make connection, you can share ideas and stuff. And I was thinking, why are women not coming? So maybe if I reduce that barrier, being afraid of being in a very male dominated space, and create a space which says, our ladies, yes, you are welcome, this is space for you, whatever 0 - 1 level you want to start tech with, let's start it together, let's help each other. So that's the idea with which we started the Our Ladies group. It was predominantly at learning art. Basically, start from wherever you are. If you know somewhat art, you can teach others. If you don't know anything about the art, then you can freely come here. We can discuss about the basics, we can connect you with other experienced people, and can take it up from there. And apart from that, like I mentioned, creating the female representation. What are the female representation in tech world? Giving them the platform.
3 points I'd like to add to what Disha said. It's a really cool group. It's a really cool group. Very eager to learn R. And those who know that it gives me acidity. But I have attended their sessions and they're so cool. If she can manage to get me interested, people who are already interested are going to love it.
Yes.
Point number 2, Disha, I think, so ACES, anybody of you, would it be possible for you to just kind of circulate or put in the chat, Disha, your handle name, where they can reach you, how they can join?
Yeah.
If it's not possible right now, we can send the details over to one of you, and
Yes,
then you can
exactly.
put on your, so it becomes easily accessible to everyone. And point number 3, and the most important point, and this was brought up on Our Ladies social handle quite a few times. It is named Our Ladies. It is not exclusionary.
Yeah, exactly.
It is named Our Ladies is because the intention is to make women comfortable here.
Exactly.
Does not mean that it does not consist men or men are not allowed. So
But
that's
yeah,
not
exactly.
it is named. That's what I wanted to clear.
Yeah.
So you can just like draft up a document or anything of the contact details, the people to reach out to, handles. We can send it over to ACES and they can maybe send it.
Yep, I'll do that. I'll share a document. That would be cool. Yeah. So there's another question, Aditi. When you actually started working as a fresher and you felt that you are being underestimated just because you're a woman, so what did you do? And what was your stand? Or how did you think you will beat that?
Oh, excellent question.
Yeah.
I'm going to be really honest. When that happened with me, I was, my confidence took a hit. And it was not like, acha, chalo, Rana Ragini, ekdam, I'm Jhansi ki Rani and I'll just get my talwar and battle. That did not happen. My confidence took a hit and it took me a while to get out of it. It happened, it started in college itself, really. But then, so it started in college, as in one of my professors actually said that girls in this class are just wasting guys' seats. And anyway, shadi karke tum log bartan manjne wale ho. Wow, what are you doing here? And this guy was a very well-respected professor. He was also our project thesis guide. He would never look me in the eye, even though he had seen me welding side by side, like shoulder to shoulder, along with my guy team members. I was the only girl on the team. He had seen me do that and still he wouldn't look me in the eye. So that's where it started, right? That's where my confidence started taking a hit, like a spiral of self-doubt. Ki, acha, maybe I'm not cut out for this. And in my first project, my project lead, who is a woman, she gave me this feedback. She said, why don't you speak up more? When I speak to you, you have so many ideas, but why don't you speak up more on our client calls? You just seem to shy away from things. Why don't you speak up more there? You are comfortable talking to me, but why don't you be there? then I realized, oh, okay, so it's okay to do that. I was told to believe it's not okay to do that. I was told to believe to just keep doing my work quietly, and when it shows, it shows. No. So it took me a bit of time, and someone saying that to me, "Ki, why don't you speak up?" So what I'm trying to tell you is that it's okay. That's what I found out. It's okay to speak up and make your point, even though you think that okay, you're not bringing much of value add. Of course, don't say anything like nonsensical. If you think you're making a point, it's okay to speak up, and that's what I would answer. Ki,
Yeah.
just get out of that zone of self doubt. Just because someone made you feel like that does not mean you are actually like that, right? That is something that you need to convince yourself, and
Yep. Yep.
just go get stuff. And how do you think you will beat that? That's again a journey and a process. Uh, Generally, what I do here is I'm careful about the pulse of the beating, catch the pulse of the meeting, what is going on, and then if I really have something good to say, I will interrupt people politely to make my point. I never used to do that. I just used to let the person go on. Because I thought, okay, maybe I'm a fresher, maybe my point of view is not that valid, but that's not true. There were so
Yeah,
many times where my point of view was valid.
exactly.
And it's good that I raised my hand and politely interrupted that, hey, I have to add, I may have something to add. What is the worst thing that could happen? They'd say, ki, Acha, maybe no, we have already assessed this and it's not working. Fine. The more you know.
Yeah. And you'll be really surprised that whatever ideas that you are doubtful about, they're actually very useful idea most of the time. You'll be really surprised once you start talking. And another thing, since you have raised the point about being fresher, the
Yes,
younger you are, the more reckless you be, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
The more you are like student, अरे like मतलब हावरटा सारखं करू. I'm sorry if anybody is like Hindi over here. Do it like recklessly. Nobody is going to judge you. The more junior you are, the more what I think at advantage you are.
Yeah, no, being a fresher has its own advantages, let me tell you. You can be reckless, you can ask questions, you can be quote unquote stupid and just like learn stuff, just go for it. And nobody's going to bat an eye. And in corporates, let me tell you, so if people are considerate, okay, like we are made to believe that, oh, this is such a like a Maya Jal. And once you get there, it's very hard. People are like ruthless and merciless. Yeah, the culture might be like that. But once you start speaking up and sab sharam chhod chhad ke you start making points, yes, that you learn, and it's the first few years. As a fresher, you're bringing a fresh perspective. Just by the way, and that's a very important point.
Exactly.
The seniors have been there for a while, and their way of thought has been molded into thinking a certain way. As a fresher, you're always bringing fresh perspective, and they appreciate that.
Exactly. And the right managers are actually looking to learn from you, basically. Okay.
Yes.
Next question, Aditi. There's a lot of inequality that we experience. This should not happen in educational institutions. We are supposed to learn about equality, but we see that there are different rules for males and females. Example, hostel time. What would you speak about it?
It's nonsense.
It's completely nonsense. And
Yeah.
fight against this. Like I have seen people like, oh, now these are the rules. अभी इसके against कौन लड़ेगा, कौन time waste करेगा, मैं ये करूँ या वो करूँ. You have to fight for your rights.
And in the right way, मतलब दरवाजा बंद होने के बाद don't jump the gate and go out and get yourself in trouble. नहीं, वो हुआ है hostel में. That has happened in the hostel. A bunch of girls just jumped the gate, went out, got drunk, came back, and got suspended.
I'm really talking about a very constitutional way of raising the issue with, the institution heads and stuff, making your point and not letting it go and stuff. Do all these things. You have the right and get your rights like dealt fairly. This is just not fair, and raise your voice. That's what I would say. And one more thing, Aditi, sometimes some girls in this era are too boyish because they aren't particularly girly for girls and too girly for boys. How do you believe one could manage that situation in your life? I think
amazing. I was made for this question.
Yeah, that's why I gave it to you.
Okay, As I told you, it's been a constant struggle for me. I was too girly for the boys in mechanical engineering, and I was too boyish for the girls in human resources. So, okay, I I did not. I was young, right? I did not know how to manage it. Okay, but then after a while, I just realized that none of it is going to make a difference because it is other people's perception. It's not their fault, which is being shaped by the conditioning, the content they consume, the kind of environment they are in. It is shaped from their conditioning, and there's nothing I can do about it. So it is very external to me. This is something I realized after so many years. In that time, I was always on the edge of, like I told you, a constant struggle between trying to fit in and break the stereotype at the same time. How is it supposed to do that? And there were times I used to be so angry, like so angry all the time. Right? This is unfair. But yeah, these things are very external to me. These things do not affect me anymore because I am myself. I am myself irrespective of what you say. Now, call me girlish, call me boyish, I don't care. Like, if, for example, I think Disha, I think that your colleague said, right, why you going
Yeah, exactly. Like,
we have the stereotype that girls like all things pretty.
exactly. I mean, how does that correlate?
I
I
would
can
like
wear.
to argue. I would like to argue here that okay, how is that? Why should I feel bad about this? Yes, it comes as a taunt and it hurts me. But if you really think about it, it's not really a like if you look at just turn it around and look at it, it means that you as a person have that you have that capability to see beauty in things. And again, so if you look at this particular capability of being able to see beauty in things, is it gendered? It's not. It's not specific to women or men. It can be anyone who can see beauty in things, right? So it's just it's a projection of their conditioning. It's external
Exactly.
to you. It is other people's perception. It ideally it should not affect you. And this has to be a deliberate self-messaging, by the
Yes.
way, that no, this is external to me. The only things that affect me are the things that are internal to me, and this is not internal to me. I choose to be myself despite everything. This sounds like theory. I know it does, but this is what I've learned. This is what I've realized. Just not to care about this. Let it pass. Let
Yep.
it not
Yep.
affect.
Don't be conformist. Be yourself
Be
always.
yourself. Be yourself. So
Yeah.
what if people think you're too girlish, too boyish? It's just, it's
You're
been a
just
journey. It also, it's also been a journey for me when this professor said कि शादी करके बर्तन मांजने हैं. Well, if someone chooses that life, nothing wrong with that, right? If someone wants to शादी करके बर्तन मांजना, well and good, do it. Just own up your decision of doing it, is what I want to say. And from there to my project lead, and we have been dealing with an extremely crazy client for the past few months. She said that being in an all women's team, which is a rarity, has made it infinitely easier for us to deal with a difficult client. So that was like a circle complete for me. From there to here, right, where I was in a space, I was in spaces where I was kind of looked down upon for being girly or being a girl, and here I am in a space where I'm being appreciated for being a girl. So things just fall in place. If you don't feel like things are falling in place, it's matter of other people's perception.
exactly. Don't let that affect you. Okay, so yep, that was helpful. Thank you, Sunanda. I'm glad you found it helpful.
I think there's a question from Shambhavi. There's a part here. We said that there are different rules for males and females.
No,
Okay,
that was
Yeah,
covered.
yeah, we covered it.
that was covered. We covered.
Yeah.
Okay. Aditi,
It's almost an
think-
hour.
yeah, Aditi, I think you should tell the people about how you transitioned your journey, your professional journey from mechanical engineering to HR.
Yeah.
I will. But we have. There is another comment, by the way. I will get to that question, Ashay. But being a tomboy becomes like we are left alone in our own community of girls.
Oh,
This is a struggle. This is a struggle so many girls go through. That
yeah.
happens. Yes,
It,
that happens.
it does. It does.
It is
Uh,
tough. It is tough, and especially when people view you as a tomboy, and that word is something I object to, like fiercely. That should not be a word that is just thrown around like this. If someone is calling you that, you should call them out and say,
that
"Okay, you're being called."
that again comes into like creating stereotypes, you know.
Hmm.
Like this is like something of my image of a female being, and something that doesn't conform to my image of a female being, I'll give a different name. Like, why? Why do you want to give all these labels and create new stereotypes? um yeah,
But
but
how to deal with this? How to deal with it when it happens that when a certain person does not conform to
yeah,
preconceived.
I think what I have experienced is it was like my struggle the other way around as well. Like I didn't conform to this being very tomboyish or very girly kind of thing, but I always had this problem of, you know, whatever the problem that is being highlighted over here, that we are being left alone in community of girls itself. uh, I learned to look at all my female friends from empathy, and I tried to see or look where do they come from, what kind of life they have led up till now, what kind of conditioning they have been through. It really isn't their individual problem, but it's a problem of a society as a whole. Okay, so I cannot really pick one person and say, oh, it's your problem and you're making me feel left alone in this group. You need to look at the larger picture and the larger problem, and it's going to be a very tough challenge to change that. It can only happen one person at a time, one step at a time. It's going to take a long time to go through that. And how it will happen is you taking effort to reach out maybe to your girls, talking it through in some ways, and you all coming together at some point. Like, I'm sure there are things that we all appreciate about each other, and we love about each other, and we voice those appreciations to each other. And there are going to be other stuff that you can't really influence, that has to be a personal learning curve, and you just leave it to that, leave that person to, you know, walk their path and come to
Yeah.
that decision.
So two takeaways from this, what Disha said. One is, it's not personal. It's not about you.
Yeah.
It's not you they are leaving alone.
Mm.
It's just it's not matching, and you're not able to deal with each other's personality.
Difference, yeah.
Not personal. It's not about you. And second is that yes, if you feel unheard, unappreciated, alone, there are so many online communities. We found online communities through Twitter, who for like-minded people who go through exactly this stuff. And if you want to expand your network, if you want to feel heard, there are so many ways you can build those communities. You can reach out to either me or Disha.
Exactly. That's what I was going
I
to
mean,
say.
my social media is very inactive right now. It's just I'm not a very active on social media, but wherever you can find me, I do check it once in a while. But you can reach out to us if that's what is making you feel sad or making you feel unappreciated, and we can point you towards like-minded communities.
Yep. You were going to talk about your journey, Aditi. Of
Oh, yes.
transitioning. Yeah.
From mechanical engineering to HR. Okay. It was a personal decision. So I think the Pledge of India, I am an Indian, and so hence I'm an engineer. I think we should add that addendum to the Pledge of India. Uh, all Indians are my brothers and sisters. I am an Indian, and hence I'm an engineer, and hence I will go for an MBA afterwards. So that is the addendum you should add, and that's how I am an engineer. Very honestly, that's how I'm an engineer. And I just found out that I looked at the courses that engineering had to offer. What could kill me the least was mechanical engineering. And I was told that, yeah, it's an all boys field, this and that. I'm like, nahi, if I go for something else, I might just burn down labs, and out of sheer frustration. So that can't be good for the society as a whole, me burning down things. So I did myself and the society a huge favor by going for mechanical engineering. Again, I was told that this is an all boys field. how will you do it? How will you manage? I did want to do an MBA. I wanted to do that. So I went for it. And when I decided to major in human resources, I was told the exact opposite. Hey, but it is an all-female field. How will you get any opportunities there? So see, can you see, it doesn't really make sense. It just doesn't add up. Like you do anything, people are going to tell you, okay, how will you do it? There are tons of people to doubt you. But despite that, going for it because you want it, because that's what you can manage. That's what you can do. In my case, for the former part of the engineering part, it's because I chose the option that could kill me the least, right? And for the second part, I chose the option that would make me the happiest. And but these were all my decisions, my personal decisions. Even though being an Indian and being an engineer is like something we're born with, uh, even in that, I tried to make life as easy for me as possible. So it's like you are the center. I was the center of my decisions, and nothing else, nobody else, no external influences. So so the one takeaway from here: people are going to doubt you and tell you, "Acha, this is an all male field. This is an all female field." Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. You make decisions for you and you stick by it.
Yep, yep.
Yes, you stick by it and you take ownership of your decisions. That's the most important part.
Exactly.
Yeah, Aditi, I think you could also tell how you teach school kids aside from your corporate job.
Oh yes, that is something I love doing. And these kids, they are such a huge part of my life. Again, see the teacher, being a teacher, like acha, girls become teachers, girls make good teachers, women make good teachers. Let me tell you, my partner teacher, who I used to teach with in Bangalore, I used to work out of Bangalore. It's a guy, and we had so many men over there as well. Uh, this was something I was always passionate about, and teaching kids especially. There was a point I was in a dilemma. I was stuck on a crossroads. Should I go for a Teach for India fellowship or should I go for a degree? But then I just ended up going for a degree. But yes, teaching kids is something. It's my passion, and when I do it, it just feels like everything is aligning around me. So that's something I found to keep me sane from all the crazy corporate world. And even over there, I've observed in the class the typical stereotypes. Ki, acha, girls are more sincere, boys are very unruly, and boys will create a ruckus, but girls will be so silent. Um, if you observe younger children, younger kids, there's no difference. Girls, boys, everybody will create a ruckus, and when needed, everybody will be quiet. But as these stereotypes are perpetuated along, like how they grow up, if you see the teenagers, 13, 14 year old kids, there you'll find the boys are unruly and girls are silent. I don't know why, but then when the girls are by themselves in the class, they would create a ruckus. And that always made me wonder if they're scared of being themselves in front of the boys. Maybe they were. Maybe they were, because that's just how they behaved. Maybe they were not scared, they were all friends. It's just how they were conditioned. But that's my observation. The younger children, not a care in the world. But as they grew older and as they faced all these, perpetration of these stereotypes, I think they just imbibed in themselves also. Yeah, as a girl, I have to behave a certain way. As a boy, I have to behave a certain way. So if it's relevant to I brought this up because it's relevant to the conversation we are having. But all in all, this teaching thing has been a blessing to me, especially when you are on a crazy corporate project. You need something to make you feel better about yourself and make you feel happy. And the kids just tend to do that for me. And Disha also teaches. Disha is a visiting faculty, but she teaches older people.
Yes. It's very hard to teach younger people, especially school children than older people.
Oh, but they're very sweet. They're very
Yeah.
sweet. Once you establish a connect with them,
Exactly. The rewards are actually very sweet while teaching younger people.
yeah. And the observations, like where does all this come from? Like the stereotypes and it's said that as adults we tend to become boring, and kids are not boring. The kids are not boring because they're not inhibited. They're uninhibited. They're not shy about things. They will put up their hands and ask questions. They will do stuff that will be deemed as nonsensical stuff. As adults, we tend to lose that. And that shouldn't be the case. I would like to tell you, and Disha, please, along with your Our Ladies draft, please include a link to your blog. Disha had written a blog about feeling stupid.
Yeah,
It's quite nice. It's such an honest account of her
good read. Okay.
Please, I would request you to include the blog link in that. Please give it a read. It applies to all of us. Disha, would you like to talk about it?
Oh, yeah. So I just found the link online right now and I'll just paste it into the chat box. Please go through it if you are interested. Yeah, it is about like feeling stupid and doing science. So I read this article how, science is all about failing, and then, reaching the answer. And you shouldn't really get disheartened if you are not getting the results right way. And many a times we are told that okay, if you fail once or if you fail twice, oh, you don't really have that in you. So don't get disheartened. Just keep doing what you really like in spite of the environment and the conditioning telling you to be otherwise. Just do your stuff and the results are really sweet for you. It really rewards you for sticking it out, and that journey, like staying with your work, doing your work consistently, and then reaching a position at a position where you feel confident about your work, that journey that nobody is going to take away from you. So that will always stay with you, even if you don't get that, oh, she's got a spark or she's not got a spark. Just ignore it, do your stuff, and that will
Yeah,
stay
I
with
mean,
you.
always. So we keep hearing all this all around, and this is a journey which I myself have gone through. Everybody keeps saying, "Do what you like, passion follow karo." Three Idiots made like Raju Hirani made a whole movie out of it. Uh, Follow your heart. अरे क्या करूँ? Action item दे दो मुझे. Follow your heart मतलब क्या? What do I need to do for that? Because there are so many constraints in following your heart. It's a poetic concept. Following your heart, yeah, it's beautiful, but how does one go about it? Um, so this is a question which like most of us have, and there are so many things that hold us back from following our heart, right? What helps, and I have done that exercise personally, so I hope it helps you. What is stopping you from following? What do you like? And then what is stopping you from doing that? It could be, and this is a very important, I think the only reason most of the time is that, okay, how much money will I make doing this? Right. Uh, there are questions like this, right? Uh, will my career grow? Will I have an illuminous career? How much money will I make? Right? All these questions tend to hold us back. What I would suggest and what I'm perpetually trying to do, I will not say, and I don't think I'll ever be able to say that, I've nailed the issue, I've like, figured it all out. Nobody has figured it all out in life.
No.
That what I personally did was I found a way around it. Right, I found a way around it because I knew that there are some constraints which I have to take care of. Like I have to earn money, I have to pay my bills, I have to pay my rent, and all those things. I need the money to pay my bills, but I also need to feel alive. I don't want to be like a mundane corporate robot. I found a way around it that now I'm a part-time teacher. I do it part-time. I divide my time. During the week I work, I slot, and whenever I get the opportunity during the weekends, I teach. And it slowly builds to something. Like what I do is kind of expand my network, pull down what I am learning from them, and it's very hard to create a plan for your life. You can't plan your life, is what my observation is. You can't really plan your life, but what you can do is have like a broad bullet list of what you want to do, of what you like to do, and put down your constraints, put down your fears and insecurities. How much money will I make? How much? Put down your insecurities, and then try to analyze what does this really mean? What does an illuminous career mean to you? Right? So for an artist, an illuminist career might be it might look different for than an IT person. It doesn't have to follow the same path, and you can do multiple things at a time if you divide your time effectively. That's what I've been doing. That's what Disha's been doing, and trust me, it keeps us sane. Because
Yeah,
for me personally, I cannot be a robot 24/7. I just cannot. But some things need to be done. Like when people say follow your heart, it's not kind blank follow your heart, sab chhod chhad ke fakir ban jao. No, you have to kind of evaluate your pros and cons while you decide to follow your heart. That is a balance sheet which you have to make. And if you want to do justice to yourself, you will do it. And if you need help in doing it, again, reach out to us. We will help you in any way.
exactly.
We will be listening ears to you if you want. Like if you want to write, we can do that.
Yep. All right. So,
So I think what we can do is we can include your LinkedIn profiles in that message, the draft which you are going to prepare, and
okay.
then we can just ask those people to connect with you who are interested.
Okay, sure. Really makes me feel very senior person, Aditi. They're going to include our LinkedIn profiles. We do all the time pass stuff on our Twitter.
Yeah, that's why I didn't say Twitter.
Okay.
It's okay to reach out to me on Twitter, though. It's okay. It's not. I mean, it's not that much of nonsense either. Like I've found some amazing people, and it's better if you are reaching out to someone in a more relaxed manner, because like if it doesn't have a professional constraint to it, people are just more relaxed, and you can just reach out and say whatever's on your mind. And yeah, I do feel really old. I feel really. Oh my God, no idea. I mean, like I was one of I don't know. I feel like it's a lot of responsibility when so many people are listening into what you're saying.
Yeah, we are really, really amazed, and we are really thankful for you guys. Like you invited us, you listened to us, you really had such a good discussion with us. Actually, we had this discussion after really, really long time, right, Aditi? Like so
Yeah.
nuanced and with such a big audience and stuff. Really, yeah, it was a good time.
It was kind of like this is something that we do amongst ourselves all the time,
Yeah,
but it was amazing to see so many others interested to join in as well. It
exactly.
just kind of expands your forum of discussion, and that's amazing to me.
And also makes you feel that it's not just you and me talking into a bubble. It's really about like everyone is on the same platform, and everybody would like benefit from talking to each other. Yeah, I enjoyed
And
listening to
your
you.
questions made us think.
Yeah, anyone has any other question?
Thank you, Shruti. Thank you, Maitri. They're saying we amazing talk. I enjoyed listening to you guys. Thank you.
Oh, thank you
Thank you.
so
That's
much.
very sweet. It means a lot to us.
Yep.
Yeah. So personally, I was like, I was listening, and so most of the things that you said, what I feel is that they apply not only to the women but also to the men, right? Just being yourself.
Exactly.
The questions are not even gender specific. Like though we are celebrating it on the occasion of Women's Day, I recall an incident that on of yesterday. So on the occasion of Women's Day, I wanted to message my friends and my mother. So I started crafting the message using the adjectives that are typically used for women. So I thought that let's stop for a moment and what adjectives that I'm using. I have seen those adjectives that have already been used and that are so associated with women itself. So then what I did was I just said Happy Women's Day. And what I personally feel is that instead of men defining women, I think if they could define themselves, that would be great. So I just posted a picture on Insta and said that some people find pattern and some break those unknowingly. And I guess that what applies to everyone, not only specific to women or men. Instead of just defining them and concerning them with the adjectives, let's just celebrate women for what they are.
That is such a beautiful thing to say. That is
Exactly.
such a beautiful thing to say. Kudos to you.
Exactly.
I love this.
Yes,
I
yes.
absolutely love this. And yes, so Women's Day, all it's misconstrued so many times. Anything related to women, Women's Day, feminism, it's not exclusionary of men.
At
It's
all.
Exactly.
at all. It's not exclusionary of it applies to everyone. It's just that there is a section of the society who has been deprived of these opportunities for generations together.
Right.
It's
Exactly.
just about enabling them and creating spaces for them. That's it. It's not exclusionary of men. And what you said was so beautiful that create your own identity and define yourself. This is
Hello.
something to
I
say.
would like to add in that I have seen many Instagram and many social media posts yesterday, and men were commenting like why it's only Women's Day, why they don't do it on Men's Day and all. So I
Yeah.
guess we know then you answered this question beautifully.
Oh, thank you, Sunanda. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Yes,
so
it
much.
was never exclusionary of men.
Yep.
And if you consider it as a fight, it's against patriarchy and not men.
That's
And
what I was
patriarchy
going.
affects everybody adversely. It affects everyone adversely. Just women more than men, because that's how it is by design. But it affects everyone, and this is a fight for equality everywhere. If you look at I mean, to people who say this, Sunanda, I always say that go look up the meaning of feminism. Like just Google it. It give you like equality. It's nothing. It's not exclusionary.
Yes.
Nothing is.
Exactly. Hmm.
Anyone has anything to add up to this? Otherwise, the session is over. Like you guys can stay. We will be talking, I guess.
Yeah, the session can go on for 2 or 3 hours or so.
I know if we don't close it, it can just go on.
Right.
We are loving it.
Yeah, not only questions.
Hmm.
If
Yeah.
anybody has something to say,
Exactly.
just a comment, anything.
Yeah, we can also we can have a like for the meetup. We can have one more session. We will just organize the meetup with ACES if it's possible, Disha,
Yeah, sure.
because we don't just need Women's Day to celebrate something.
Yeah. Oh, you're
Right.
talking about the Our Ladies meetup?
Yeah,
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 sure,
yeah.
sure. We
Yes.
can do that.
Yeah, sure.
We can do that.
So that would be a reason to collaborate together, right?
Ah, yes. That sounds good. And we are actually thinking about rebooting it and making it Our Ladies online, because again there is some murmuration of partial lockdown in Pune. So I guess we'll just have to figure out how to do it online. So yeah, we can do that.
Great.
Cool.
Okay, so if anybody doesn't have anything to say, then
You can
I
stop
think,
the recording, Asha.
yeah, okay.